Okay, I'd like to call the Plan Commission meeting to order for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. Roll call, please.
President Kardasky.
Here.
Gary Paul.
Here.
Chris Adkinson.
Here.
Jay Krieger.
Here.
Mike Skiffington.
Here.
Corey Campbell. Here. James Allen.
Present.
Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remember our men and women throughout the world in uniform. I have no changes to the agenda. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 5, action on the minutes of the February 3rd, 2026 Plan Commission meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number 6, comments from the public must be limited to items not on the agenda. Must state your name and address, limited to 5 minutes. The board's role is to listen and not discuss the item. Personnel issues cannot be discussed nor individuals named, and the board is not able to take action at this meeting. Is there anybody from the public that would like to make any comments on items not on tonight's agenda? Any comments from the public? Moving on. Number 7, items for discussion and possible action. 7A, consider, discuss, act on a conditional use permit request from Wisconsin Public Service for a major utility natural gas district regulator station within the I-1 Light Industry Zone District. Aaron.
All right, thank you. If you recall, last month, a request to amend the village zoning code, table of allowed uses came forward to allow for a conditional use permit option within the I-1 Light Industry Zoning District. That ultimately went to village board. It was approved. This is the second step in the process where Wisconsin Public Service is now requesting conditional use permit for the location of major utility, in this case, a natural gas district regulator station, location on Spirit Way, just north of West Main Avenue, to actually request that conditional use permit. In terms of the location, I'll just share my screen to show that. All right, there you go. As indicated, the red square location is proposed right here, north end of the parcel owned by Holker Brothers. There is a easement agreement in place to lease this property from Holker Brothers for the natural gas district regulator station. In terms of the project and what it actually is, what you see here is an overhead view of a site plan. Basically, you have a fence with a gravel pad, and then a building right here containing some units, and then some exterior gas pipeline. It goes above ground, then goes below ground outside of the fenced area. The couple details I just want to make note of. The staff report does indicate that the building is to be metal. Actually, it has been changed. It is now masonry to comply with the site plan review committee requirements of a 3-foot masonry wainscot. They said rather than just do a 3-foot masonry wainscot, it's easier just to make the whole building masonry and not have that change of materials. One other thing to note, that's different from the staff report, is that the fencing is to be black vinyl coated fencing, chain link fencing. It's not just your standard gray. We'll have the black chain link metal fencing, vinyl coated. At site plan review committee, it was discussed about the fact that there will not be slats or screening in this. The reason for that is to ensure that public safety, police, fire have access. They can see into the building, into the grounds, make sure that it's safe. There's no vandalism. There's a fire, smoke, natural gas leak. They can see that before they actually get to the property itself. Site Plan Review Committee did ultimately approve the site plan as proposed. In terms of conditions, under Wisconsin statute, any conditions that are applied to a conditional use, and this is quoted from the statutes, must be reasonable and to the extent practicable, measurable, and may include conditions such as the permit's duration, transfer, or renewal. So our specific recommendations, specific conditions that you can apply to a conditional use permit. In that case, the recommended conditions of approval include, as listed, above ground components or structures of the major utility shall not extend outside the mapped 96-foot by 141-foot area. Driveway access shall be from Spirit Way with driveway permit obtained from Ashwaubenon Public Works Department. External lighting and noise are subject to village ordinances. Major utility conditional use is limited to a natural gas district regulation station. Number 5, again, that's been changed, that it's all masonry. Number 6 is not applicable because, again, the building is all masonry. Gravel areas shall be kept free of weeds, that's the areas inside the fenced area. And then the driveway apron and drive lane to the fence gate shall consist of concrete to avoid any gravel washing onto Spirit Way. Going back to the map, there was some discussion at site plan as well about trying to move this back. It is noted that the grade does drop off pretty steep there, back towards the creek. So having it in this location does allow for future development at the corner of West Main and Spirit, should something decide to locate there. Following Planning Commission action, the request will go to the March 24th Village Board meeting for a public hearing and action. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. We do have representatives from Wisconsin Public Service in the audience as well for questions if you have them.
Joel, the question I have with them having that property is leasing it, that's not going to change that zoning at all, is it?
No, sir, it will not.
Nothing to do with the zoning, okay, as long as it stays the way it is. That's the only question I have.
Okay, any other questions?
No, not at all.
Does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as presented with
Second.
staff conditions.
We have a motion and a second by Jim Allen to approve with the staff conditions, the regulator station in the I-1 Light Industry Zoning District for parcel VA-L367-6, 1020 West Main Avenue. Any other thoughts, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. 7B, consider, discuss, act on a requested rezoning from P Public Use to B2 General Business for the former Brown County Library at 1060 Orlando Drive, parcel VA-99-2-E. Aaron.
All right, thank you. And I should mention it is still the Brown County Library until the new library opens at the promenade on Cormier. So it does say former, but it is still there currently.
Yes.
I'll share my screen here just to give you an idea of the map where this is. The requested rezoning, again, is the existing library building on Orlando Drive you see here. This request is to be rezoned from P Public Use to B2 General Business, consistent with the zoning to the east and to the south. I did include a packet of the table of allowed uses that indicates the permitted uses within the B2 General Business Zoning District. It is consistent with what you see on Ridge Road currently. No major changes there. Let's see. In terms of the comprehensive plan, again, should be always used as a guide for rezone requests. Pertinent land use objectives for the subject rezoning, I'll read those. Promote redevelopment efforts that include a mixture of synergistic residential, commercial, recreational, institutional uses. Strive for a compact, efficient land use pattern by promoting infill development of existing vacant and underutilized lots. Ensure compatibility of adjoining land uses for both existing and future development. Following Planning Commission action, the request will go to the March 24th Village Board meeting for public hearing and action. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, we do have representatives of the library in the audience as well.
Aaron, a question that I had, did the county approach the Ashwaubenon School District because of the proximity of that building and that to see if the Ashwaubenon School District was going to be interested in that property?
I'll defer to Sarah Sugden of the library, if you would mind answering that question. If you come up here. Yep, sorry. Just state your name and address.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. My name is Sarah Sugden. I live at 2834 Josephine Circle in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I can say that when we determined that we were no longer able to remain in the current building because of the site didn't provide for this opportunity to build out in the way that we need as the community has grown. We needed a bigger library, which is going to be ready this year. We came to y'all first, when we were looking to put it, to send it off on this new iteration of life. The county, again, didn't need it. Y'all didn't need it. Then we went to the school too, and they were in the same place. And so that's why we were proceeding with putting it on the open market. But we did check.
Okay.
We checked with our government
Perfect.
first.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure that contact was made because of the proximity. It just
Sure.
made sense. But yeah, I wasn't sure if the school district would have been interested or not. So thank you. That's the only question I had.
Okay,
It's kind of a no-brainer. That property surrounded by B2. It shouldn't be any problem to rezone this whatsoever. It fits the plan of what's on the map here. If no other questions, I'll move to approve the rezoning of this subject property.
Second.
I did have one question. You're rezoning it just to put it on the open market for sale?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
okay, we have a motion and a second to recommend approval of the requested rezone of 1060 Orlando Drive, parcel VA-99-2-E, from P, public use, to B2, general business.
One other question. If somebody does purchase it and they want to develop it into, say, an R3, are we still going to humor the rezone to that as well?
If someone would purchase it for a different use, they purchase it say the B2 gets approved, they
Yeah.
purchase the B2 property, they have to come back and request a rezoning to R3.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Items for next agenda, the first thing I want to say is our April 7th meeting, there's an election that day, so we won't be able to have it, and we cannot have it on April 8th because the rooms are already utilized. So does the April 9th, that Thursday work for people?
It would not work for me.
Works for me.
Okay, Gary? Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, because Gary said, yeah, it worked because we have to move the whole slate of meetings.
Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, Mike? Okay, Jim?
Should be fine.
Okay. Okay, so we'll tentatively plan on moving this meeting then to April 9th on that Thursday. Okay, anything else for next agenda?
I have an item that I'd like to address. So we, at the Brown County Plan Commission, the issue of AI data centers were brought up at the Brown County Plan Commission, the last meeting in February. And I think we were informed that because there's no uniform zoning in Brown County, that the onus of taking care of zoning ordinances pertaining to definition of AI data centers, any nuisance ordinances regarding data centers, and any zoning ordinances regarding data centers will fall back on the communities. And I did meet with Aaron about this last week, Monday, and it looks like he's already working on sort of a definition for AI data centers for the comprehensive plan, and also definitions that would go into each of the zoning areas, correct? Am I correct?
Right, I'm working on the zoning code update, and as
Okay.
part of that, I have updated a definition for data centers.
Okay.
And we have certain performance standards in there as well.
Okay. And I would like us to have, address that as I mean, if it's going to fall back on us in this committee, I think it's very important for us to, kind of understand what powers this board has, both in regulatory powers, particularly with nuisance ordinances, with the zoning itself. And I think we should take a look at that and maybe have a presentation on that. Based on what other communities, I know that there's a movement, I think in Brown County now, even to do a moratorium, and I don't know that that will be successful, but either way, I think as a community, we can't bury our heads in the sand because it's already been to one other community. So if it's gonna fall back on us, which I assumed Brown County would have there would be some sort of a dictate from Brown County in that regard. It doesn't appear to be that's the case, and that our community has to address that through its zoning and planning commission. So I think it's important for us to maybe get on board with this as soon as possible.
So if I could, since this is not on the agenda and it's the request to have an item placed on the agenda, what we would do is effectively allow Aaron to present kind of an update on the process to rewrite the zoning code.
Correct.
And then we can talk very specifically about the content that you're describing here with data centers at the next meeting. So I know it's tempting to get into it tonight, but I would encourage you not to do that. But we can
Yeah.
put that on the agenda so you can have a more
Yeah, I hadn't
robust
intended-
conversation
yeah.
with it. I know you didn't. I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that in the future, it seems to be, cage rattling right now, but I really think that it's important that we stay ahead of this issue. I know we're a little bit landlocked here, but we do have properties in the area that could be open to that, so we need to make sure that all things are in place prior. And if it's coming through our committee, we need to have a presentation on it.
Okay. Okay, anything else? I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
And seconded.
Motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Right.
Opposed? Motion carried. We are done.